What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel for the first Hot Wheels new for 2025 model. It is the Morgan Super 3. Definitely not one that I predicted would be the first one of 2025 for me to review. First new model, that is. So, without further ado, let's get into it and see if Hot Wheels 2025 is shaping up to be a good year. Let's kick things off with our casting as usual. Now, interesting things. This being such a teeny tiny little car, it's going to receive a teeny tiny little casting. And all that being said, it does look good for what we have proportionally wise. Nothing really weird there. Pop the real life car up in the corner there for you to kind of compare. And what we're going to say about this is that it is a solid chunk of metal. In fact, everything you see here is metal, except for this kind of suspension and headlights assembly bit. Because right down here, when it gets to this point, with a little, I think, radiator poking through here, that's going to be a piece of the base, which is also metal. So, very cool. When they do a small car like this, similar to the Lotus 49 of last year, I like it when they do a metal on metal. It really, really works, in my opinion. That being said, though, we do have a windshield up here that is plastic and roll bars back here that are plastic, and then the aforementioned headlights and suspension bits, all going to be plastic, but overall still good. All of your body lines are casted in and replicated pretty nicely. Exhaust poking out the back here. I think that's the exhaust at least. Tail lights, sorry, back here, casted in. Overall, pretty good. No real complaints from me. Paint and deco. Now, this is interesting because we got an odd kind of first choice for the first edition, especially here. So we got this like teal blue, which on its own doesn't look bad, but then it's paired up with a metallic blue, which again, on its own does not look bad. Paired together, though, on the first edition was odd. Yeah. And then you kind of got like a almost tribal livery going on the hood and the back here. Interesting. 03 number, what's that say? Super Team, something like that. You got a Hot Wheels logo on it. I'm sure there's a reason for this deco. I just don't know what that reason is. And so for that reason, it's kind of an odd choice to me. It's kind of fun though. I get it. It's interesting. Yeah. Moving into the details, not a whole lot to talk about up front here. There was no kind of tampo treatment for the headlights, which is a little bit of a shame because you know that tampo budget went to this tribal livery for some reason. So that's a bit of a shame. We do get a little Morgan logo up there, though, so that's good. When you make your way down the side, we do get fairly accurate wheels. I mean, these do look very similar to the real-life wheels, so that's pretty cool. Not much to say about the third wheel in the back there, because you can't even hardly see it. We do get what I believe is supposed to be the exhaust back here, tampoed in and painted white, which is a choice. It doesn't look bad. Into the back section here, though, these taillights did not receive any tampo work, and to be honest with you, with how small these are, I kind of doubt they will ever get any kind of tampo treatment, but if you want to paint them yourself, should not be any kind of a hassle. But yeah, detailing on those normal ends, that's about it. We do have a slightly better detailed than normal interior, which is good because you can see it so very clearly. Seats are nicely detailed. If you're a customizer, I'm sure you can do some work with those. Steering wheel looking good. Little gear shift down there. Dashboard, what very minimal dashboard Morgan has, is there and looking good. For our roll test, it's only got 3 wheels, so it's not going to roll as smooth as a normal Hot Wheels, but it still rolls very smoothly. Not any real problems there. Went ahead and put this one on the scale and expected it to be pretty light since it is very small for a Hot Wheels, but it does end up to be 28.42 grams, which is only a little bit under like the average for a mainline. And considering how small this car is, that metal on metal really does kind of add to the heft to make it feel pretty solid. Pros and cons, getting things started with the pros. This is the first Morgan Super 3 to hit the 1/64 scale market. I'm not 100% sure on the actual scaling of this, but I imagine it's pretty close. And this is so far the only one available that I know of, at least. And it is only $1.25, which brings us to our second pro. That mainline price tag is always good. If you don't like all that tampo work, you might be able to remove it and be left with a kind of a teal version, which looks pretty good. In regards to that deco, though, that is where our only real con pops up. And it's going to be, yeah, that was just an odd choice, especially for the first edition. If this was like the 4th, 5th, 6th version of the casting, yeah, sure, go to town with odd decos. But for the very first one, wow, interesting. My only thought is that they are trying to just make theirs more fun than the upcoming Matchbox Morgan three-wheeler. And, you know, maybe that was the agreement there. For some quick size comparisons, here we have it with some other small British cars, with the Matchbox Lotus Exige and the Matchbox Morgan Aeromax. And here we have it with some other small castings that you might have, with the Mini GT Lancia Stratus Rally and the Mini GT Lotus 78. Alrighty, so with all of that out of the way, let's find an overall score here. The hype level, I'm only going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Anyone who was excited for a Morgan three-wheeler seems to have been much more excited for the Matchbox version, which is yet to come out. And this one has been a bit of a peg warmer, I think, because of that, and for the fact that, you know, it's a Morgan three-wheeler, not the most exciting car for our many collectors. Execution, though, I am going to give it a 9.3 out of 10 because outside of the deco, I think the casting is really good. No tampo work, could have been a little bit better, but doesn't particularly bother me with the engineering of this casting and the style and everything. So the deco is really the only drawback. Feedback. So I've seen a lot of people not really happy with these plastic bits up front, and then of course the deco, as we've harped on about enough. So feedback, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. When we take these three scores, add them together, and average them out, we are going to end up with an 8.93 as the overall score. It's a pretty good score for a very unique casting choice by Hot Wheels. Really did not think that this one would ever come from Hot Wheels, especially after it was already announced to be coming from Matchboxes. Very odd things going on in the world of Mattel collecting right now. The casting itself is done very nicely, though, and it's got that nice heavy feel to it. I really, really like it. And it is pretty good. Like, detailing of the actual casting is nice. Intricately designed and looking good. The deco leaves a lot to be desired, though, in my opinion. It's a fun deco, don't get me wrong. Like, the colors work well together, but I just don't know if they work well together on this car, especially for its first release. So, yeah, ultimately not my favorite, but it does have a certain fun factor that I kind of want and expect from Hot Wheels. And for that reason, and the fact that it's only $1.25, I think it is still worth picking up, just because you know you'll never get anything unique deco-wise like this from Matchbox. So for that fun factor, worth the pickup. If you're not into that, though, wait for the Matchbox. And that is going to do it for this review, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and don't forget to leave a comment down below telling me what your thoughts are on this particular model, and I will see you in the next video.